Seismic testing was done in the Ecuadorian Amazon, and once oil was found, its fate was sealed. Oil companies are destroying this land without consideration for the Waurani and Quechua families that occupy it. Animals were killed in masses, and the people of the Amazon were not even permitted to use the remains for subsistence. They were left to starve, or they were poisoned on the land that they have known forever. These communities believe that the forest has many different deities, all under two living spirits, which have been driven out by the destruction of the oil companies, and they feel abandoned. Every community has an internal driving force that unites its people. A Western way of viewing this is a pillar. And I've carried this idea of the pillar with me through the many different communities I visited. These two living spirits I mentioned serve as this community's pillar. Their thoughts and dreams are connected to it. This pillar has held up centuries of tradition, giving guidance in times of need, but most importantly, held them together. What happens now that this pillar has been removed? My name is Sofia Hoffman, and I'm a fourth year studying environmental systems engineering. I've been working with Dr. Rachel Brennan for the last 4 years, and she now serves as department head of civil and environmental engineering at the Colorado State University. During my second year, we began our collaboration with Dr. Belén Noroña, associate professor of geography here at Penn State. She's a lead faculty member in grassroots grounded research and indigenous territorial governance, with over 16 years of experience in the Pastaza and Yasuni region of the Ecuadorian Amazon. Our work is among Quechua communities in the Yasuni that have been deeply impacted by the extractive industries. What we found wasn't surprising. We all know that the Amazon is polluted, but it's what the community needed, because truly ethical research puts communities' needs first. We spent 6 weeks with 3 different communities, all with different levels of connection and destruction. They're all connected by the Rio Napo, but the way that they have approached extraction has impacted everything that the river touches. As I made my way up and downstream, I followed the line that connected these communities. I saw this for the first time during the summer of 2024. I left for the Amazon with my backpack, sampling equipment, and lots of maps. It's hard to prepare for a trip that so few people have taken, and if I'm being honest with all of you, there's nothing that would have prepared me for the time I would spend there. I witnessed a pristine environment home to thousands that could walk through the rainforest and identify every plant and its medicinal properties. In a way, we have completely separated ourselves from this relational practice. After arriving to Coca, a port city built by the oil company, and spending hours, and I tell you hours, on a high-speed canoe, we arrived at El Eden. A place that should have been a paradise was introduced to me by a port occupied by the Petrolera, the oil company. I would return to this port many times during my studies, and each and every time I was met with this same eerie feeling. El Eden has been occupied for the last 25 years. This is an example of an oil platform built in the middle of the rainforest. These people and their land have been abused more and more over time. Through workshops to understand the extent of the contamination, we saw how much information is truly being kept from them. How many pipelines are under them? How much oil is being exported daily? They have no idea. All of this information has been kept from them. There are children as young as 3 years old with joint pain, extremely elevated levels of cancer, and women going blind only in their right eye. This community is tired of the hold the oil company has on them. They've introduced alcohol, and substance abuse is now rampant, as if the damage done wasn't enough. Their pillar was taken, and they want it back. After a few weeks, we made our way to Tiputini. It was raining the whole time, and our boots filled to the brim with water. It was freezing. And everything was gray as we made our way past countless communities to what should have been a protected area. The Yasuni National Park, a protected national park, has had the illegal construction of an oil platform ongoing for the last 7 years. Naively, when we arrived, I was expecting the same reaction as Eleden, a disdain for these oil companies that have taken everything from them. Gracias a Dios por el petro. That was the first thing they told me. Thank God for the oil company. Imagine my shock after spending weeks with Eleden and witnessing their pain. These companies have endeared themselves with new infrastructure, technology, and a small one-time payment, distracting the community from the destruction that is coming. Tiputini is what Eleden once was, and they are throwing it all away for a profit that members of the community will barely feel. To me, it seems that they've made oil their pillar, and they are on the long, painful path to becoming Eleden. The canoe ride back was silent. The rain was the same, but with every drop, I could feel myself losing hope for the Yasuni. The last leg of our trip was spent with the community of Sani, a community that has led the resistance against oil companies since the beginning. They saw the contamination of the Rio Napo and knew the destruction that would come if they cooperated. They gained long-term financial independence through an eco-lodge, so they would never have to turn back to the oil company. Dr. Noronha and I led workshops with the children to connect them with this movement that started the resilience. In 2004, a protest happened where the whole river was blocked off with cables taken from the oil company. The younger children reenacted this protest, and they met with one of the grandmothers who lived through this, and she showed how strong their community was and how important it is that they continue to be strong. Their pillar is resilience. It keeps them together, and it continues this fight. Despite this, they are still the most downstream community. They are met with a toxic river due to actions upstream. Connecting the lines between these communities shows how opportunities and collaboration can fully change the narrative. Their connection to the land is being stripped away at varying levels, just like the pillar that holds them all together. But oil is not the only thing being extracted. Extractive research is no different than the extraction of oil. It's the abuse and undermining of communities that have lost more than enough. Going to a community for information and abandoning it isn't helpful. We need communities to be strong. All over the United States, we are seeing pillars being stripped away from their community, igniting a new wave of social justice with a call for technical support. Our research sets a precedent by integrating environmental engineering, geography, and indigenous epistemology. Communication across disciplines and across communities is essential. This cannot be for the benefit of your career or for your publications. Working with communities must come from a deep and profound desire to help people. Indigenous communities have always been resilient. They don't need your pity, they need your support. They need a seat at the table, and they need civilian science. There is no undoing what was done, but this does not mean that this is the end. This May, Eleden will go back into renegotiations with the Ecuadorian government and the oil companies that have held them hostage. Through a continued collaboration, we've built our pillar on trust. And I hope the community will come together to be as strong as they were before the abuse of the oil company. I've seen that when we lose a pillar, we lose whole communities. And communities don't need you to become their pillar. They've already had that. You just need to help rebuild it. Thank you.